Let it out.
I don't know what to tell you, bro. My coaching staff has a tier list of the 3 worst players in the league, and he's in there. So
Oh no.
I don't know if that speaks to him as a skill level or what I'm doing to him, but I'll let the fans decide on that.
Okay. All right. Now I want to see the matchup. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pros. I'm joined by Bwipo, LYON Oddielan, and of course, for you guys out there, this is opening week of Split 2. So thank you guys for watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, wherever you guys are listening to them. Thank you. Let's start with this week's episode of Pros. So it's week 1. A lot has already happened. I want to actually first start off by saying, happy birthday, old man. Big 30.
Thank you.
Did you do anything recently?
No, I think since after my birthday, I think we had the games. So we just had a day off a week before. My friend just took me to Disney.
Oh, that's a good one.
Other than that, not much.
Yeah.
Just trying to practice for the games.
True. We can just go straight into it. I mean, I'll go around the table because a lot has happened so far. There are a few 2-0 teams. You guys are one of them. Just talk about how, first of all, preparation coming into this split, or at least this weekend, and how that game has been, your recounting of it.
I just came in trying to look for the strongest champions on the patch. Obviously, Naafiri got changes, Gwen got changes, Yorick got changes. So first need to analyze which of those champions are overpowered. Turns out all of them are pretty strong. So I ended up using Yorick. No one else seemed to have prepared him, so I'm a bit surprised. But, well, I should say I'm disappointed but not surprised that no one tried him. But that champion is very strong.
Okay, and you guys were on the opposite end of it. Just like, to me, it was a very crazy game. It was a very back and forth game. We got comms on you, Bwipo, saying like I will carry. But it felt tough. There was just a lot of moments. I thought Scary Jerry had a very good game. You had a very great call around Dragon where you guys, you bopped out 2 people and you guys got a steal. I want to talk to you about that. Just how'd that game feel for you?
I mean, I think every game for us just feels like a slow step forward, you know. Obviously, we went 0-2. We faced these 2, you know.
Yeah.
Sucks to be here. But yeah, I mean, I think our game plan is... We're just trying to improve every game. I think we have a lot to improve on. That's why I think this Korea bootcamp that we had this offseason was really helpful because we feel like we had to level up our individual play first so that we can kind of play as a team. And I think we kind of achieved that. And now we're trying to just learn how to play as a team, like on stage. People play different. So a lot of, mistakes that we were making, and honestly, we're pretty happy because I think there's a lot to take off versus these 2 games.
Do you think today was a bit of a confidence booster? Because you guys lost to 2 teams that went 2-0. You guys feel significantly better than we saw you last split.
I mean, yes, in a sense, because I think we should always try to stay positive, always try to believe in ourselves even though no one else does. And I think we do have some good moments. And I think we just have to eliminate the mistakes that we're making, trying to capitalize on the enemy's mistake more. I think right now we just have too many hectic moments in the game that it's kind of hard to play our game. Yeah. So we're just trying to iron that out.
That makes sense. Going back to you, just because you didn't only just have that game, but also the Vladimir game going up against TL. That was day 1, kind of like kickoff. Very fun just seeing you go in a Vladimir game into a Yorick game. But how'd that game feel for you? Because that was a tough one. There was a lane swap at minute 4. I guess that made it a little easier for Gwen, but then Impact just had a problem again and again and again. So walk me through it.
I got a lot of help from my teammates in that game. And in general, I feel like, I'm back in the LTA, pick a champion that scales well, you're going to have success. That's how I feel. So I was pretty comfortable playing the Vlad game and the Yorick game as well. I felt like even though there was a bit of a mess in the Yorick game, when I pressed tab, I felt like enemy top laner was useless. So we were playing 4v5.
Yeah.
And then in the Vlad game, it was a bit of the same. So I just pressed tab. I'm like, wow, enemy top laner is useless. So as long as I do my job and I team fight well, I think we'll have we'll end up winning anyway because I don't see even if the fights are a bit back and forth, I feel like I have all the control because I'm really strong and the enemy top laner is too weak to do anything by himself. And I felt like as long as I make good decisions, we should be able to win. I definitely don't think I made perfect decisions. I got a bit cocky on the Yorick for sure.
Yeah.
Same with Vladimir. I remember I flashed over and I tried to go crazy and definitely a week one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you come back on stage, few jitters, you overestimate certain things, or you also like underestimate how like nervous people are. So you're not playing exactly the same way that you would in scrims. Other people aren't playing the same way they would in scrims. And it takes a little bit of readjusting and talking about like what exactly, our mindset's going to be and how we want to fight, and then readjusting for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Like, for example, like I'm flashing in here because I really want to fight to the death. Like this is what I would always do. And then the rest of your team's like, oh, like, at stage, maybe we didn't expect you to go that crazy.
Yeah.
So it's a conversation to be had for sure.
I would expect that, Audie, just bringing you in a little bit, I would expect that a lot from you guys just because you didn't have much practice at all going into split one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess everyone boot camped here to Korea, but it felt like it helped you guys out the most. And you guys finally had your support Lions here. Talk me through this week, because not only, yes, you guys ended up taking down DSG, but Dignitas as well. Yeah, walk me through it.
Well, the Korean bootcamp was really helpful for us, to be honest. Like, we really need this. Like, we were like kind of not playing our best, so we scream a lot like good teams in Korea. So just helped a lot like individually.
Yeah.
And then coming here, like Bwipo said, like some teams play different. Some teams like are playing like always. Here we feel like this week they didn't play like they usually do. So we just take advantage of that.
Yeah.
We still make mistakes. We need to fix this, but we're gonna be like stronger for the next weeks.
Do you have any stories about like personal stories with your? Because a lot of the joke in the community or the memes in the community is like just like how diverse your team is and how like different communications aspects on that one. So how was the trip for you guys as like a team?
Well, Hena doesn't know a lot of English, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like he has like both, like Sein and Hena has English teachers, but Hena is like not fast learning.
Yeah.
So every time we try to talk to him, he's like, "Huh? What do you mean? What do you say?" And we talk with Sein, and Sein translates to him. But it's just pretty funny. Like he's just try hard to like learn to speak to us, because sometimes it's like kind of hard. But yeah, that's it. Like we just like having fun, bully him a little bit when he doesn't understand.
So this is interesting because I guess I got a good read about how you guys have felt so far with your guys' games. Kind of interested in seeing how you guys feel about your guys' overall team progress. I'll actually start with you, Bwipo, because you actually had an interview going into the split saying how you felt you were a fourth place team. Obviously, you were talking about split one and the results from that. But did you believe that? Like, tell me, like, let me know your thought process, because a lot of people still think you guys are like top tier.
I mean, I'm a simple man. If you place fourth, you're fourth. That's just how it is. I think that like I draw a lot of confidence from how we play as a team and how decisive we are, how clear the game is to me. Like if I can close my eyes and follow what my teammates are doing, it's a good place to be. I didn't have that feeling, and in general, I think that best of ones, we're always going to be better in best of ones because, well, quite frankly, we have stronger players than most teams in every single role. So if you can't ban out those champions, or if you can't ban out our best champions, we're probably going to beat you in the first game. It's just the way it is. Being strong individually on a champion and being a strong player individually usually means that you can drive the game for your team. So when we come into a draft, you can select multiple of those champions for us. You can't ban out all of them in the first three, right? When you play Fearless, it's 6 bans plus 6 bans, right? So there's 12 champions gone already, which means that all your best players are going to have to dig a little bit deeper, and obviously it's going to be harder to carry games because traditionally over the course of all these 10 years of competitive League of Legends, you would just be you'd master a limited amount of champions, 2 or 3. Now when Fearless is coming in, it's very apparent to us that when we go deeper into Fearless, our individual strength as players doesn't shine through as much because our best champions get taken away or banned or something happens to them. Yeah. And I think that this is ultimately the biggest hurdle Flyquest has to overcome, and best of ones unfortunately don't help us with that. So even though when we come into best of ones, I'm sure we're the best team in the league. Yeah. That doesn't matter because the rest of the format's not best of one.
That's interesting. I would have imagined you guys, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts too, that you guys would be stronger in Fearless because a lot of your drafting has been very creative. Especially like now people just don't let you guys have Ivern. It's just not allowed. So do you guys feel like you are weaker in Fearless compared to the other team because it's just harder to, like, is it just the type of compositions you're playing?
I just think in general that when you play different matchups, you can be really good at a champion but not know the matchup. I think today's game for Castle is a great example. He's a very good Jace player, but if you don't know what my character does, it doesn't matter, right? Like he was dodging all my E's mechanically, but he didn't know how to actually make progress in the lane 1v1. He just took there and just sat there and just took me pushing him the whole game until I outscaled him and I was a menace in side lane. And that is kind of what I'm trying to tell you, where it's like, just because you play a champion well individually doesn't know what your job, you don't know your job responsibility, you're not going to be successful.
Yeah.
And I think that having good mechanics and being strong and having the ability to play and navigate a specific champion individually doesn't mean you know how to carry the game, doesn't mean you know your role in the game and how you spread good situations across the map, right? Because he put himself in a bad situation the whole game, basically, because he never actually traded with me. He only poked me. Obviously, it's not easy to do if I play well, but I think in general, it's really important to acknowledge that being strong on a champion doesn't mean you know how to carry a competitive game on that champion.
Yeah.
This is why I think Flyquest has struggled, where even though we're strong players individually and we are good at playing unique champions, I think that we got lost in the sauce a little bit and we didn't know how to connect strong performance in one of the lanes to a game-winning objective, team fight, whatever it may be.
That makes sense. I wanted to bring you guys in just for the Fearless question, because that's like probably the biggest format change going into Split 2, is like the addition of Fearless and best of threes and best of fives later on. Specifically, I'm gonna ask you, Oddielan, because like coming into Split 1, where it was solely about Fearless, and you're gonna have to practice around Fearless, did it feel like it made your team stronger, like in terms of like the creative picks you can go for, or did it feel limiting?
I mean, it was different, to be honest, but I can't say, I don't have an answer because we only practiced like so long. Like it was so weird, like first game it was versus like Cloud9, I think, and we have one day with Saint, like coming here. So we didn't practice a lot, but I feel like Fearless is just like fun, and you need to play a lot of champions. Like you cannot like stay in one comp. So it just makes you like try to new champions, you know? And that enemy, if they try new champions better or more, and they're just gonna win because that's how it is, like Fearless, you know? Yeah. But it's I feel like it's, I don't know like how to say, but
it's like a tough thing to approach.
Yeah, kind of.
Because Huhi, I'll bring you into this one as well, because like you guys have had, like obviously you have a lot of younger players on your team, and a lot of the times you're trying to work on like the fundamentals of the game. Yeah. But then you throw in, of course, this is Split 1, lane swaps, and then you throw in coming into this split, like obviously continued Fearless. Has it been something of a wrench?
Wrench as
it's like a little bit harder, like to approach.
Yeah. I mean, I will say so, because I think when the game is more stable, when there was no lane swaps, when there was no Fearless drafts, and we just pick the same champion over and over. Yeah, it's a lot easy to have like more of a stable game, like reach certain point of the game and kind of work on what your team wants to work on. Yeah. And not only that, I think when you start losing playing Fearless drafts, it's like people lose more and more confident, especially when compared to like our team, when we're every player is kind of like nervous, still kind of playing on stage, compared to like a lot of veterans or like a lot of top tier teams. It's like any matchups that they'll play, you know, they just feel more confident. I think confidence has a lot to do as well in terms of like performance. So yeah, I think it is just all of those things are all like X factors that kind of hurts us, but I think those are the hurdles that we do have to overcome to kind of meet the expectation, try to like improve as a team.
And going back to the earlier question, do you guys feel like you were, because you said you're working on it, progressing. You guys, and I mentioned that you are much better off since Split 1, feeling stronger, and you made your trip to Korea. Like, how do you feel about your guys' current trajectory and rate of improvement?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously want us to improve, including myself, in a faster phase. But I think the reality of the situation is that, you know, the first split, we just got knocked off right away. You know, and Jerry didn't really have that great games. Like, you know, he was kind of taking it really hard on himself. And, you know, like people take self-accountability, which is a great sign. I think it's kind of important how he uses it. And yeah, I feel like this last 2 games, even though we lost, I'm pretty happy in his behalf where, he was trying to trade more. He was trying to go for kills. And even today's game versus Flyquest, like he was having a decent game.
Yeah.
Like obviously he could have carried, but even yesterday, like he was ahead. It's like now we get a lead. I like that he knows how he feels to have a lead on stage. Now I want him to kind of communicate and kind of control the game as a carry. And it's all like step by step, slow steps, but the important thing is like we're getting there.
Bwipo, were you caught off guard a little bit with how DSG was playing? I know I caught you on the stage interview for that question.
I mean, honestly, I'm not sure if it was my team or the enemy team. Like, I could also think that maybe our team was a bit vegan. I'm not sure. I'd have to investigate. I felt like there were some moments where we made it a little bit too easy for them, perhaps. So I have to investigate.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to review the game, so I don't know. I think that my only regret is like I had timings to move because I was really strong and I was very committed to moving and fighting. And I felt like in those fights, things weren't as clear for me, like what exactly was going on. So. Not sure if that's because I picked bad timings to move or because we misplayed a little bit, so I have to investigate. But still, there was life in them. I like that. Props to them for showing up and playing the game, though. Yeah, I mean, not sure if that was my bad as well. That's why it's like, I think they played a decent game of League of Legends. Their champions were strong, and none of them, like, I feel like only their top laner was like getting walked over. Like when I was hitting the Ezreal or Azir, they were hitting me back. That's usually a good sign. That means there's life. Yeah. A lot of teams just kind of let me walk over people when I'm fed, and I like that. Like when I was playing Vladimir yesterday, like I don't know, IPA for example, he just sat there and he just took it, like he wasn't even really trying to like set up anything good. And in general, like I just like it when I play League of Legends. It's a back and forth game, so I'm happy that we played against DSG and it felt like it was a real game of League of Legends because I feel like a lot of teams kind of crumble once one of their side laners. Like I feel like the biggest issue that non-top tier teams have, so big teams that don't have much confidence have, is like when one of their teammates starts faltering, that the rest of the team collapses. They don't know what to do. One guy's feeding and they're just like, oh, we can't do anything. But it's really important that you continue playing the game on the opposite side, and I think DSG did a really good job of that. Like they made sure that their Azir was in a good spot and he was always trying to progress the game, even though their Jace was like an obvious weak point. Yeah. And I think that was good.
Now that I got to talk about your guys' teams, I'm interested in your guys' view on the other teams. Like, I want to start with Team Liquid. They went to first stand. They won split 1. It feels like this week has been pretty rough for them, honestly. Like, yes, they beat 100 Thieves, but that looked like 100 Thieves had a lead. Actually, it just looked like the finals, the game 2 and game 3, where like 100 Thieves has a lead, loses a bot side team fight, and then kind of loses control of the game. Where would you rate Team Liquid? Had they felt a little weaker than usual, than like split 1 in the year before? What do you guys think? I'll start with you, Oddielan.
I feel the same. I feel like they are grouping a lot. Like usually in scrims they kind of do the same. Yeah. But in stage I feel like they're kind of overgrouping too much. Yeah, that's it. I feel like they're still good. To be honest, I don't know why there's so many like comments about the younger. I think, but I feel like he's decent. Yeah. I think he's not bad. So yeah, that's it. I think.
Just a team-wide problem. Huhi, getting your thoughts on TL?
I mean, Team Liquid, I think for me, their biggest change that I can feel is that their bot lane is kind of weaker. Oh, yeah? I just think their bot lane was also a strong point before, but nowadays when I play versus them, it just feels like less pressure, just in general. So maybe I think that's where like the weakness comes from, where like they feel more beatable now. Yeah. We actually scrimmed them decent amount, so yeah, I feel like their fights. I feel like they're actively trying to improve on their team fights. Yeah. Maybe that's why they're grouping way more. But yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't exactly know, but it definitely feels like they have something internal going on.
Yeah, because my thoughts are, it's a good point with the meta changes. We're seeing like impact on I think it was Jace and Gwen, and then on top of that, like of course. With no level 1 lane swaps, we'll talk about that afterwards. Like it felt like they were very strong at being able to play that style, and being able to play the map a lot more. And then not only has the meta changed, lane swaps changed. Like, do you think that was the biggest hit to them, or do you think it's something deeper?
I mean, for me, the lane swap hit me a lot. To be honest, I feel like they were really good at lane swapping. Now that it's gone, maybe that's why we felt like it's now beatable. Yeah.
It's hard to really say. I think for me, the biggest issue that Team Liquid seems to have is that I feel like they're overplaying and overgrouping. I feel like one of the biggest strengths is that they always had APA on the side, making sure who's getting big. We have this running meme where it's like there's always a moment in the game where whenever APA plays on stage, he's alone in the side lane for like at least one wave, if not two waves, just smacking on a tower, getting so much gold. And that's obviously attributed to the fact that the rest of his team's playing really well in the 4v5.
Yeah.
But now I feel like, at least in the game we played, and even today when I was watching, like they were overgrouping so much for fights that I feel like they normally wouldn't really take. So I'm not sure if that's something that they felt like needed to change, because in First Strike they tried the strategy where like their usual strategy and it failed. I'm not sure. I haven't watched all their games, but something I feel like changed for them, and I think they're trying to navigate that right now, and it's a pain point I think for them.
I'll go to C9 next. A little interested in Cloud9 because I didn't know what to expect with C9 coming into the split. It looked like they were stronger after like getting in the semifinals in split 1. But of course, they lost to 100 Thieves and beat SR. There's like low sample size, but you guys have probably scrimmed against them and seen them a little bit more. I'll start with you, Huhi, just the idea of like Cloud9. Where would you rate Cloud9 as a team at the moment?
Cloud9, honestly, can't say much because I've only watched them play on stage and I didn't really scrim them. Yeah. Even after like the Korea Bootcamp, I think we play next week or something. So I mean, based on the what I watched, I don't know, they just pulled some weird pick like Listen, but like I guess he was kind of doing well. I was just genuinely surprised that it was working. In today's game, they won. I didn't really get to watch it yet because I was coming to LTA. So honestly, I don't have that much opinion.
Okay. Bwipo, thoughts on C9?
Not sure. I feel like they're a stock standard team. They have Korean, top Korean, and mid import, so they're just gonna play what LCK plays and figure it out. That's how I feel, at least. So, nothing special. I think that they really rely on Vulcan and Blabber having good games. I think that when they have good games, that they're a pretty good team. Like when they're running around the map and like stronger than your jungle support, I definitely think that you can feel that and you can notice that. But when they're weaker, it feels like there's just NPCs running around, so you can just collect them whenever you want. Pick a lane, contest them equal numbers, and they're not that good.
Seems like you agreed to a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the Cloud9 is always playing like support jungle, and always I see like Vulcan like going to side, just standing on a bush, trying to pick up somebody. That's how they play the game, and if you feel for it, you're just gonna die and just gonna snowball the game. That's how they play.
Oddielan, talk to me about 100 Thieves a little bit, because it's on me. Like every time I go into a split, I like undersell them, undervalue them, right? They were literally in the finals, and still like there are still questions. So for me, I'll ask you about like 100 Thieves going into the split. What your thoughts on them? I mean, they went up against C9. They took that win. That was a big win for them. And then of course they had a lead for majority, like a good part of the TL game. So it looks like they're a lot stronger. What's your assessment?
Well, we scrimmed versus them, and I feel like top 4, they are the most beatable for me, at least. Yeah. But I don't know, in a stage maybe they're different because I'm pretty sure they know how to play against like C9, Team Liquid, Flyquest. I'm not sure, but they seem in stage like they pretty confident, to be honest. I'm not sure because we still don't play them, but I feel like they are beatable. At least like I put them like top 4. Yeah. To be honest, but I don't think they're a weak team. Okay. I need to see them on stage too.
What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I think that for me, we have a pretty good matchup into them because I think that they have a bit of a crazy, like they need their mid jungle to like overperform basically, and I think our mid jungle is very good against players like that. Where if the opposing mid jungle has to take risks to get advantages, I think my mid jungle has a very good matchup into that. They like playing a slow game, controlled game, and usually they come out on top. And then I feel like I have a pretty good matchup into Sniper where I feel like he relies a lot on raw mechanics, and I'm a player that likes to use my head when it comes to matchup prep and how I want to play the game. So it's hard to judge. I feel like as long as you are aware of how they like to play, you'll have a good time. I think that the reason why we lost to them in the first split is because we were a bit loose. Like we had a really big advantage and we thought that we were just going to roll them. And I think that that's the hardest part, like the hardest hurdle to overcome, is that they're always going to fully commit to every play they make. Yeah. So if you are not fully prepared to either back off immediately or commit all your members, there's definitely some fights they can win because they're pretty good at team fighting. Like, their players are not bad mechanically. So I think that's the number one thing when you're trying to play against 100 Thieves is they will not, like they always call bluff, you know? You can't bluff.
Yeah.
So if you bait someone, they're going to commit and the rest of the team is coming.
Huhi, when you're on 100 Thieves, it felt like the same identity with like you, Closer, constantly team fighting, right? Like a lot of people doubted you guys won a championship based off that. Now you're looking at 100 Thieves and it seems very similar. What are your thoughts on that team? Because it's always crazy to see them play the way that they're playing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just kind of have like good cores. I will say, like, I agree with Bwipo where like their mid jungle is probably on the top in the league. When you have a good mid jungle, your game is always going to be winnable.
Yeah.
And your mid can always carry late game. They now got FBI this year.
Your former
and
partner.
I feel like, yeah. And I feel like Eli is also playing pretty well nowadays. So yeah, I just feel like just in general, they're a pretty solid team. And I just value River a lot. I've worked with him. I know how he is. And yeah, he's like probably one of the best jungler I've worked with.
Yeah.
I just think him and Inspired are like the two junglers that kind of leads the scene or like our league.
Yeah.
So whatever happens, I feel like they will always try to find angles. They'll like try to fight like whether that's a creative angle or like even though it's a bad one, like they just go for it, you know? And I feel like those moments really shine. For example, like I think their first game, like I remember one guy getting caught and River was just looping around the blue, kind of came back that way. I think just those moments just really speaks a lot.
And like the last two teams basically are Shopify and Dig. And I don't know if you guys saw their like 50-minute banger of a game yesterday. So like, what's your read on either of these teams? And like, what was your take on that game if you caught it?
Honestly, I don't even. I remember that it was a free win for Shopify, and then it wasn't because they went Otacon and got aced. They lost Otacon, and then it was from there. It was just a mess, to be honest. And when you're in a stage game like that, at the end of the day, it really is just a matter of checking how disciplined you are as a team. Because taking small wins and walking away with them is usually how you win games like that, like pretty swiftly. I think that one of the reasons why our game was a mess today is the same reason. It's like, you know, we got a free Baron, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go chase this Ezreal and see if I can kill him, and then I die, and it's like, oh, we lost free Baron.
Yeah.
And basically, I think the same thing happens in those kind of games where people are just really stressed. They don't take small wins. They overplay in team fights where lots of mistakes happen, and I think that it's just kind of proof of where they're at in the rankings, in my opinion, where if you don't know clearly what your champion's job is and what you should be happy with, you probably aren't playing very well. So I think that 50-minute games like that happen because there was a lot of, I don't know, inconsistency, you know, like a lot of people just not sure what to do, not sure how to do it. And then I think that's kind of the hallmark of these teams is when one thing goes wrong, they just completely lose track of everything that's happening in the game.
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to talk to you about this one, Oddielan, because you were a reason why Dick may have went to like 0-2, but also you played against your former boy in Kaney, right? Like, first of all, can you talk to me through like that relationship that you had with Kaney and just how did it feel like going up against Dig as a team?
Oh, we are really good friends, like with Kaney with me. We have a lot of like trolls in when we're like last year, but not like but as a team.
Yeah.
So, but he always were for me. So I'm very grateful for him, like to be here also. But today I feel like they maybe weren't that confident on so many plays. I feel like they could like push us a lot more, but they didn't. But yeah, I think they are still really good. I think I was going to talk about a little bit like Shopify.
Yeah.
Want to talk?
Do
like I think Contractz seems like really happy when they can play aggressive. Like they're 2 games Naafiri, they just all pushing lanes. They just walk into enemy jungle, put wards, and he just invade level 3.
That's true.
And I feel like they playing like this, they seems really strong. But I want to see when they cannot do this. Like cannot like just go into enemy jungle level 3, try to invade, do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Because they feel like 2 games in a row they just do that. And also I feel like we are when they, I don't know, in that Atakan team when they threw like they were 4v5 and they just still doing Atakan.
Yeah.
They just threw the game, but I don't know. I feel like they are happy playing like this, you know, like so aggro. So, but I want to see like when they are behind. Or they just cannot do that. Like legal, you know.
That's good to check. Actually, that's a really good point because that's happened frequently. Teams have given them out of specifically Naafiri. They've given him Naafiri like both times, and a lot of the times you are just seeing the constant aggression. So it's nice to see if they actually can, like, if they don't get that comp, what will happen. I want to round back to the off-season stories because like all three of you guys went to Korea, all of them just to boot camp. I was interested in hearing what your guys' like mutual experiences were. I'll start with you, Bwipo, only because it was like the same team that you guys have had, and it's tough. Like I wonder what you guys improve on if it's like the same pieces. Obviously, everyone is like, it's a catch-up effect. But tell me about the Korean story.
Well, like I said, we went from playing normal standard drafts to playing fearless. That's a huge change. When you play standard drafts and you play unique picks, you specifically prepare them into a specific matchup. So you don't practice the champion all that much necessarily. You just practice the line that you're going to play, and then you're going to get that line most of the time because the guy you're playing against doesn't know what your champion does all too well.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing we tried to change, and I think that's something that I needed to focus on, is to just have a stronger arsenal of blind pick champions and flex champions that we can use to have an easier time in situations where I don't get a great pick.
Yeah.
And I think that for the most part, I already mentioned this, but having conversations with everyone and like making sure everyone's aware that like, hey, when we play our best champions, we're a great team and we play really, really well.
Yeah.
But when we're not on our best champions and we're like, people aren't creating advantages just purely through laning or having tempo all the time, the whole game, what do we look like as a team? The answer is not great.
Yeah.
So time to work on that and improve and basically make our champion pool bigger. So play more solo queue, add more champions to the pool, and also make sure that you feel comfortable taking over the game with those champions. For me personally, I just feel like, honestly, it's been like a few years since I've been someone that's like extremely dominant in lane. I feel like, if I think back to 2020, 2019, it's like if you put me in any game with any American player on the enemy team, it would not be playable. It was just not winnable. Like I went to Worlds, I played 2019 Worlds, I played 2020 Worlds. You put an N18 in my group, it just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And I just haven't been that guy, even though I play in NA, so it doesn't make any sense to me. So I've been focusing really hard on grinding and being that guy, because I missed Challenger in Korea. That's the very first time in my whole career that I haven't been able to climb the Challenger in 2 weeks in Korea. And that to me was like a huge wake-up call.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, I'm just low. Like, there's only one excuse. Like, there's only one reason for this, is that I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
So I've just really put in every amount of effort, even the start of this split. Like, I'm just on the grind, making sure that I'm that guy, because I think I can be.
Yeah.
I think I've always, I was successful because I played 14 hours a day for my entirety of my career. I always played solo queue. I was always top 50 on the ladder minimum. I was, very often I was, very high on the ladder. I remember when I was playing at Worlds 2020, I was, ranked 5th on the ladder for majority of the boot camp. And you want to take a guess who was above me? There's only 2 players.
Oof. I can't do it. You got to tell me.
Canyon and Showmaker. And they won that world. So my point is, for me, solo queue is a direct correlation to playing well individually. And that is proof to me. That's what my experience tells me.
Yeah.
Players that are high on the ladder perform better. That's just the way it is. If you grind solo queue and try hard every single game and you have really strong mechanics and you're just someone that walks into lanes and just wins them because you're better, this is invaluable. And I think that this weekend I was able to show a little bit of that, not too much. I think that the Vlad Gwen game was a nice play by Impact where he looped around me and then had his jungle hovers, so I couldn't abuse him early game.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying, like being able to avoid those kind of situations so I can really squeeze leads 1v1 and be that guy for my team. I think that's a huge advantage for my team, and I want to continue to practice hard individually so I can set that up for my team and basically always be a problem for the enemy team.
Yeah. That self-reflection, I mean, you show it a lot. And I think going into a boot camp into Korea really allows you to just fully invest. I'm interested in you, Huhi, only because for both of you guys, because actually all of you guys have had very long careers, and it's a lot of the times it seems like what stops people from either it starts them from retiring or feel it regressing is the push, the ambition to be able to play as much as possible and be able to self-reflect. So and you guys going, I'll start with you, Huhi. You going to Korea, what was your goal and point of self-reflection? What is something that you kind of of course, you have a team of young people, but B, being able to push yourself individually. What did you want to work on?
Yeah, I mean, our Korea bootcamp was really helpful just because we're going somewhere as a team, you know, and we're kind of only seeing each other whether that's for food, that's for working. Like we talk to each other 24/7 until we sleep. I think those kind of like building relationship was really helpful for us.
Yeah.
For our goal, I think our main goal was leveling up our individual plays.
Yeah.
Because I felt like, like there has to be some kind of base level that we had to play, whether that's in laning phase or whether that's like mechanically playing. And I felt like the first split, yes, we only had few weeks or whatever, but like that's all an excuse. In the end of the day, we're getting paid to play on stage in front of people versus really good players, right? So we have to have those kind of base level. But I feel like the first split, we just purely didn't meet it. And I feel like having that Korea bootcamp, solo queue is just way better quality. I can agree with Bwipo that at least in Korea solo queue, I feel like there's a lot of improvements we can make, even in like solo queue compared to NA. And I feel like it just really helped us level up individually. So in the beginning, we're all just trying to grind, everyone trying to hit challenger. And yeah, I think just playing versus better players in solo queue over and over just kind of leveled up our individual play.
Yeah. I'd imagine like you're kind of like a team dad, or in going into Korea, you have a lot of like rookies that maybe haven't been there.
Yeah.
First of all, how was that experience? Was there like culture shock for some of the players?
Yeah, I mean, it was Jerry's first time in Asia in general. So like it's kind of exactly what you said, where like, I'm from Korea, so I know like our culture and stuff. And it's his first time experiencing the Asian culture. Yeah. So sometimes, like he's being him, where it's fine how he acted here, but in Korea it might seem rude to other people, like in public, Yeah. So I'm like, you gotta calm down, maybe be less loud, like talk like a little like lower. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, in that sense, I feel like a lot of time I'm kind of being a dad instead of his teammate. And, sometimes he calls me Onk, which is fair, now I hit 30. But just in general, I think it's pretty fun to have like those kind of guy around. Like he always jokes around. But I think for him, one thing I value a lot is compared to other people that I met that was his age, he has a lot of like self-thought and kind of like self-accountability, or like he think about mindsets a lot. Yeah. Maybe a little too much in the sense that it kind of sometimes affect him negatively. Yeah. But I think he's getting a lot better controlling that, and I think that's where like his improvement is showing, even on stage games. So. Okay.
And the second part was just kind of like, there's a lot to focus on with your team as a whole. Do you get to be able to like focus on your own personal goals, like?
I mean, I think that's definitely really hard for me. I think that's something that I'm kind of having trouble finding balance, because right now I think trying to come for other people, you know, like even in on stage games, where I do feel like I cannot really focus on my own play, because I have to always kind of watch, try to say the right things. Oh, guys, be careful of this guy's flank here. Can someone mark this guy? Yeah. You cannot stand there. You push that wave, all those things. But in the end, like I am kind of considered a team leader, and in and out of the game, I try to be an example for my teammates. So it's been hard, but I think just more weight on my shoulder. I think I've been having that role for a while now. So it is what it is. I think I just got to do a better job of it.
Oddielan, I'm asking you mostly just like, would you able to kind of focus on your own personal goals as well? Because of course, you got your team finally together. So I'm sure there was a lot of things you had to focus on as a team, but going to Korea, was there something that you wanted to hit?
Well, first of all, like when we went to Korea, like I wanted to focus on myself, because I feel like my individual skill wasn't that good at the time. So I tried to improve a lot. Yeah. So I also was frustrated because I didn't get challengers. Also, my first time I didn't get challenged in Korea. Yeah. But as soon as we got Korea, like we have one day to fix our schedule, and then we just like 3 blocks in a row, like until 12 p.m. So it was like kind of hard. But also I was excited because we screamed like LPL teams, LCK teams, teams like usually I met like year before, like I don't know, in MSI and Worlds. So and then actually beat the LCK teams, LPL teams, make like our team like confidence boost. Like,
Yeah.
So we were really happy. That's why like I feel like this bootcamp worked so well for us.
Okay.
This is like also I feel like I improved a little bit on like my skill level because I kind of feel like I was getting like I don't know how to say like outdated.
Yeah.
So but yeah, now I'm pretty comfortable like how my team is playing. Obviously we have a lot of mistakes still. We need to still fix it, but we have time to fix. I feel like so we just getting better and better.
Let's go straight into the next week then. Like, let's talk about just the matchups because it's, once again, we're in the kind of like best of one phase. So DSG going up against C9, that's a tough one. Like, talk me through at least, I'll actually just go through 100 Thieves versus Flyquest. That one's a fun one. That's a rematch. Dignitas Team Liquid, Shopify Rebellion versus LYON. I will probably hit on the ones that you guys are playing up against directly. I'll start with you, Bwipo, just on the 100 Thieves matchup.
We scrimmed the 100 Thieves a lot, and I feel like actually pretty much every team that we scrimmed a lot copied all our priorities, so it's really funny. I think we were quite successful in scrims this week. So we'll see what they have cooked up for us for the next week, but I think that as far as I understand at least, it's the same patch. So not much should change. And I'm very confident in our team and on the current patch, so I think that we have a really good meta read, and I think we're going to have a very good showing this week.
Okay. You're going up against Cloud9 Huhi. Just like, any thoughts going into that matchup that you have?
I think for us, we haven't been able to execute like what we practiced. I think they kind of had a better draft prep, both teams that we played this week. So I think we just have to kind of have a better idea of what we can actually get on stage compared to scrims.
Yeah.
And kind of, really drill that in because, yeah, I feel like they just purely had a better draft prep compared to us. And I think that's on all of us as a teammates and coaches. So versus Cloud9, honestly, I'm not too worried as long as we can do that part pretty well because I definitely seen some light in our place. And I feel like we can definitely clean that up as long as we get champions that we're comfortable playing on stage.
Who are you more worried about? Because you're also going to be going up against 100 Thieves on the Sunday matchup.
100 Thieves will be just a fun game to play. I have River and FBI that I'm going against.
You need to all chat.
Yeah, and
you actually need to.
For some reason, me and Quid always all chat each other. So it's going to be a fun game, I think. I always have fun going against them. I think I am, I guess, a little more worried about C9 just because, like I said, we haven't been able to scrim them. 100, we know like how they are and how they play. C9 is just kind of, the only thing we know is we can watch the replay. That's it. Yeah. So,
Oddielan, not only are you going up against Shopify, which you just said, by the way, is like they keep getting these drafts. So it looks like you probably don't want them to get that. That's
actually I played those kind of drafts like they did. Like I played that in screen, so I know what they feel.
You are not letting it happen. And you guys are taking on Team Liquid. Which one are you most interested for?
Well, I want to be the Team Liquid, to be honest, because I feel like I want to be like top 4. Yeah. At least so. One way to do it is like beating Team Liquid, but also like I'm kind of excited. I always like have fun playing versus Contractz. Yeah. Like we are pretty old players to be honest. Yeah. But I feel like well, I always have fun with him. Like I know him, he knows me. Yeah. We get along. So just I want to more in this week. I want to win like Shopify more than Team Liquid.
Okay. I didn't mention this, but you're also facing Shopify as well. Which will be kind of like a matchup versus Fudge that you've had multiple times already. What's your assessment on Fudge? You already talked about Shopify. Let it out.
I don't know what to tell you, bro. My coaching staff has a tier list of the 3 worst players in the league, and he's in there. So
oh no,
I don't know if that speaks to him as a skill level or what I'm doing to him, but I'll let the fans decide on that.
Okay, all right. Now I want to see the matchup.
As a matter of fact, I'll even say this. Their tier list of the 3 worst players in the league are all 3 top laners, so...
Oh my god!
That might be what I'm doing.
Is Castle in there? Come on.
Okay. Is he Eric?
Okay, there it is.
Eric there?
Huh?
Eric there? Liquor?
There we go.
Yes, he is.
Oh man. I honestly, that's probably a good way to end it on a cliffhanger. I love that. Just that now... Now we're going to have to set this one up for next week. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for joining us. This was a great episode of Pros. And for you guys out there, thank you for listening. Keep on keeping on. Appreciate you. They have a tier list on top on worst players?
No, not even worst top players. Worst players.
Worst
in the league.
players.
Players, this is even worse.
That's actually insane.